Okay, Assalamualaikum and good afternoon. Uh, Today topic I'm talking about document object model. Okay, this is one of the important topic for most of developer or student have to understand before they can uh, do the programming of JavaScript. Okay, seem to be some of you may have some confusing about document object model, but I try to explain as good as possible. Okay, in JavaScript, document object models actually normally refer to the what we call the functions that already defined in JavaScript programming. So, in order to understand what is a document object model, actually, maybe some of you already familiar with API. Okay, actually, document object model is a programming API for JavaScript itself. In this case, you are dealing with a JavaScript document object model. So actually, it's a programming API for JavaScript, and actually, it's a defined logical structure of document and how to use them normally with HTML document. So that would be a very simple idea. What is document object model is actually referred to an API of the programming. Okay. So that's one that I just want to make sure you understand what is document object model. Try to give some idea about what is document object model. Okay, look, normally human have their sibling, human have their parents, or maybe they have great grandmother, grandfather, things like that. So before you can understand what is DOM, you have to understand that structure. Okay, actually it refers to a logical structure of programming. Okay, what is the DOM? How does the DOM look like? And the terminology that been used in JavaScript DOM. Okay, DOM also apply in HTML. There are HTML DOM, there are HTML JavaScript DOM. That can be, you can understand both of them, but they be a slightly different a little bit. Okay. So what is DOM? DOM is another specification associated with HTML. Okay. And then the goal of DOM is to allow JavaScript to interact with HTML. In this case, JavaScript DOM. Okay. When a website is loaded, let's say you use browser, the browser construct a DOM of the page. Okay. And HTML DOM is constructed as a tree of object. So in HTML, you have elements, you have tags, you have a lot of things like attributes of HTML itself. So browser expose API that JavaScript can put to interact with the DOM. Okay, look, this is example. So when you load a page like this, okay, enter your login and enter your password, and you have to click the button of login. All right. So there are connection between these elements and this element with these elements. Okay, this button actually. So if you have this document, okay, page, and then the HTML document will be like this. Okay, we have input type, text, placeholder, enter your login. That refer to this box. And then password refer to this box. Okay, you see, document types which is HTML, and you have HTML, head, body. This is all what we call a tag, and this is a part of elements in HTML. Okay, so document object model is about the structure. Okay, which tag came first? Which is much prominent than the others, something like that. Okay, so document object model, if you're looking into tree, you see here it starts with a documents. DOM is a document object model. And then in document, you have a document type. See that? Document type. So this is a common thing, document types. And then we have HTML. So we have HTML there. So that's the structured, the first level of structures. So document type and HTML is what we call a sibling. Among them are sibling. And the parent is documents. So that's the concept here. Next, if you're looking into DOM tree, you can see that document is the parents, and then HTML and document type is their sibling each other, right? Their child. child of document. Among document type is a sibling, and this is what we call node. Okay, HTML nodes. And then under HTML, we do have head, body. See that? You know what is head? Head tag, body tag. Okay, we'll refer back to this part. Okay, you see this body tag, head tag. Okay, and then if you're looking into this graph, you can understand now. Head, body, and then under the body we have p tag. Okay, and then button. Right, from here you can see the connection between HTML node here, body and button. Okay, what is the connection among them? What is the relationship between them? Okay, so you have to understand first, the entire structure is DOM tree. This is the whole thing is a DOM tree. Each entity within the tree is a node. So each entity is a node. This is a node. Okay, right. So if you're looking into the relationship, you see that the node relationship is about parent, child, sibling, and also ancestors. Ancestor refer to something great grandfather, grandmother, something like that. So that refer to great great grandfather, and in Bahasa Melayu we say that cucu, cicit, nenek moyang, something like that. Okay, you see, this is document, and then this HTML and body, right, are ancestor to button and P. See that? This is button and this is P. Button button and P is a sibling, and their parent is body. See that? Okay, that's the terminology. Right. So you also have to understand in terms of descendant, children, sibling, among all those nodes. Then only you can understand what is DOM all about. Okay. What is the DOM used for? Okay, with DOM, JavaScript gets all the power it needs to create dynamic HTML page, such as changing, removing, adding new elements, changing HTML attributes, changing CSS style, and attaching, removing event listener, and so on. Okay, so if you can build DOM, if you can understand how the DOM works, it means that you are in the intermediate level of JavaScript or web programming. In other words, you can make use of API, okay, programming API, and this will make you become intermediate level of web programmer. If only you are intermediate but not very good, so you have to know how to create the function, okay, how to manipulate document object model in order to be a very good programmer, especially in web programming. Okay. So this is a very good curve. Types of nodes, document, DOM, example, window objects, window document object. So okay, this is type of nodes. It's quite complicated to understand the constant, but I would recommend you to go to W3 School to look into how they make use of it. So okay, nodes properties. This is example of the usage of DOM. Okay, one of the example of DOM in this case is what we call document dot get element by ID. This is a DOM. Okay, get element by ID. At the same time, you can see it look like function, but actually it's a DOM in the first place. So you see the connection between this is to get HTML elements that based on ID. Okay, so that's the example of properties. Okay, look, DOM example here. You can see part 1. Okay, you have a document type, HTML, head, title. This is all of this. HTML itself is one of the DOM. Title itself is one of the DOM. Head itself also is one of the DOM. But which part of DOM and elements? Okay, look. So this is the DOM example again to show you. Document types, okay, is part of the HTML itself, and that be divided into document, and then you have as a parents, and the child is document types. At the same time, you have HTML. Here refer to the HTML tag. Okay, so notes here. Okay, so another one, if you're looking into at the child HTML element, they have body, white space, and head. Head and body is the most common in HTML elements. Okay, so you have to understand DOM have a few levels here. Okay, from parents to child, and next you can see the head. Inside the head we have white spaces, of course, title tag, okay, title tags and the other things. So which should be in the head, which should be in the HTML is a part of structures of the DOM. Okay, and then if you're looking into body, we have a lot. Okay, like p tag, and then we have strong tag, too many, and then it's very complex if you cannot understand the structure on the first place. So you have to understand what is inside the body, what is inside the head, what is inside the HTML. Okay, that's make you very good in understanding how the DOM work. Okay, DOM P, you have the element of strong tag under the P. Okay, and then this is an example of DOM. You can see the whole thing is a structure. Right. Now, another things that you have to take into consideration is about window object. The window object represents the window that contain the DOM documents. The DOM document is stored in window.documents, and members of window can be referenced within explicitly Windows, writing the windows as a represent the global object. Okay. Right, so if you're looking into window, if you go for W3 School, you can see how JavaScript in Windows. Okay, let we go to that website. Okay, right, turn on. Okay, come back to you later. Okay, document object model represent in DOM3 loaded in Windows. Okay, this one quite interesting. Okay, this is quite straightforward to understand. Okay. Oh. Okay. Okay, let we go to W3 School now. You can see that. Okay, see that. HTML DOM. Okay. HTML DOM, normally they start with DOM attributes. You have to understand that's the concept of attributes. ATTR is attribute object. You can see how they play with, and this is the properties related with DOM attributes. Okay, what you can get from there. Okay. Next, if you're looking into console object, number 2, after the DOM attribute, you go for console object. If you still remember the video that I mentioned about console log is one of them. Okay, this is the one, console log. Actually, the uses of console log is to show the output. You know, the one that I told you about variable movements. Okay, how the variable has been arranged in your programming languages. Output a message to the console. Console means that the web developer tools that can see what's happening. If you can remember the one that I showed to you, F12, and refer to the console. This is the one that it means. So we trigger them by console log. Okay, if you still can remember. Right. Then if you're looking down there, you see the document DOM documents is a lot of function can be used through DOM documents. This is the function that you can make use of it. Okay, and then we also have, you see, hundreds. Okay, if you combine all, it become a few thousand. Okay, document elements is another things that you should understand. Right, document elements. Right, this is the function. What is document element that can do? That's make a HTML and JavaScript become very powerful. And then we have document events. This is another important. If you type on click, it's not here, but maybe it's a JavaScript DOM. Okay, never mind. So you see on blur, for example, normally focus on the image itself. On click, this is an event occur when you do the clicking, right? Right. Apart from DOM, if you're looking into HTML DOM, you also have JavaScript DOM. Okay, how to access JavaScript DOM? Maybe here you can get something. We type JS DOM. Let me see what we get here. Okay, JavaScript DOM, the one that focus on your lecture notes. But actually, HTML DOM, JavaScript DOMs, the concept is the same. But you have to understand when to use JavaScript DOM, when to use HTML DOM. Both are interrelated to each other. Okay, so DOM, if you look into JavaScript HTML DOM, they're quite almost similar to the lecture notes. You can see this is HTML DOM tree of object. You see the elements of HTML DOM first, then only how the JavaScript enter into HTML DOM. So one of the example here, we go one by one. You see what is JavaScript DOM. You see this get element document.get element by ID, right? So actually what it get is a inner HTML, something that from HTML that based on ID. So in this case, the ID now is demo. So there's a connection. That's why it will print out hello documents. Right. So another things that I want to show you is a mouse over. If you see this, the mouse over is one of the JavaScript HTML DOM that's on event. Okay. You see there's a lot of classification here. DOM intro, this is introduction only, method, document, elements, and so on. DOM for animation, DOM for event listener, navigation, and also a kind of a geolocation. You can also use DOM to detect your GPS locations. Okay, so if you look here, this is example. When you mouse over, it will change to thank you. See that? When you mouse over, this is nothing. But when you mouse over, it will go for thank you. This is one of the example how to do that. Okay, how to do that is by using on click. If you type on click, okay, like this, see this, all right. On click this text. Okay, what will happen? Nothing happened. Yes, it's something that oops. When you trigger, let's say again, when you click this tag, oops will happen. Where is oops came from? It's here. Oops. Okay, it's a variables. On click and it will trigger this what we call document object model of JavaScript. Okay, all right. That's the things that you should understand when you're dealing with document object model. So that's why I'm saying that if you're able to use document object model, it means that you are now using programming API. Now, if you're able to create your own function and document object model, there will be a tremendous achievement of yourself. Okay, next, okay, this is example. What is the document get element by ID is a DOM, one of the example of DOM that get element by ID. In terms of this, you are looking into HTML documents. Return the element with specific ID attribute, otherwise it will return null. So in order to understand how this has been done, you can go to w3school.com and then you see how the get element by ID has been applied. Okay, so right, next we see this is also get element by tag name, so something related with HTML, but this one is based on tag name. Okay, like HTML, like p tag, like what we call image tag, and so on. All right. So this is another one that get element by class name, right? And this is another one, get query selector, get query selected. And so a lot, I think is infinitive way to make use of document object model. And if you're able to understand document object model and know how to do the programming, you are able to do a lot of project like analytics, or you can create some generator for HTML as well. Okay, that's all for document object model. Thank you so much. But before that, I want you to go to W3 School and looking into document object model HTML. and also document object model of JavaScript, especially JavaScript, because in the lecture notes we put document object model at the JavaScript syllabus. Okay, thank you and good luck for now.